Today is Wednesday, September 25th, 2024, and I'm actually hanging out at this place where I'm documenting this segment of the Gig Geezer, just killing some time before I have a catering opportunity that I will complete. And the significance of that catering opportunity, it'll be my 35th catering opportunity on this gig app in which I've earned $100 or more for a single order. The actual breakdown on that app is 3 orders in which I've earned $300 or more on a single order, 11 in which I earned $200 or more on a single order, and then the remaining number, 21, in which I earned $100 or more. My main motivation for doing this segment of the Gig Geezer is because I got to thinking about, it's about that time in September in which I kind of do a little reflection. The reflection is based on the fact that back on September 27, 2018, I underwent a life-changing, game-changing event, and that was hip replacement surgery. The reason why I had hip replacement surgery is because it was discovered. I learned, and it was discovered that I had really bad case of arthritis in my left hip. It was so bad that the bone appeared to fuse into the socket. It was just that bad. There was no cartilage remaining, and the cartilage is what separates the bone from the bone. So I was rubbing bone against bone. Talk about like folk with knee surgeries in which you have bone rubbing against bone and how painful that is. That's exactly what I felt with the hip. And one of the things I often joked of was Fred Sanford walked better than I did. It was that bad. So how does then hip replacement surgery have anything to do with my doing gig work and the ownership and operation of a sprinter/cargo van? Hip replacement surgery afforded me a new lease on a better quality of life. It enabled me to go about not in pain and have free movement and not walk as if I was crippled. Also, now at the time of surgery, I was involved in a gig economy, but I was just doing rideshare. In fact, famously, as I often had shared with certain people, going into surgery, the day before surgery, I spent the entire day doing rideshare. In fact, I migrated up to Charlotte and worked that market and made a couple $100. And by the time I got back to Columbia, it was about 1 a.m. and I had to be at the hospital at about 5:30. I figured that if I was going to sleep, I would sleep at the hospital. And so the main motivation for my going to Charlotte was to make as much money as I could because the Columbia market was not doing well at that time. And so I knew back then that I stood a better chance of making more money in Charlotte, and also the other option was Charleston. Again, I made a couple $100 that day going into surgery. And for the month, since I knew that I wouldn't be driving for a while, I finished the month at just a tick over $3,000 earned. So, but the question is then, how then does hip replacement surgery apply to gig economy and then currently the ownership and operation of a sprinter/cargo van? I will say this. By the time I was cleared to resume driving, which is about a little over 3 weeks after surgery, I was on the timing was such that I was also onboarded onto the Roadie app. And then a few weeks later, I also got notification that I was being onboarded onto Amazon Flex. And so for me, I looked at doing Amazon Flex as an opportunity, as an extension of my rehabbing from surgery, because it allowed me to get out and about, do some walking. I'd already been walking, and I'd been doing everything that my rehab trainer had been prescribing me to do. I went into surgery basically with my own training regimen, thinking rehab. And so all of that allowed me to be in a physical state, in a mental state going into surgery, to where I was walking the same day that I had surgery. I literally was able to walk on my own power, my own abilities, the same day I had surgery. Although it was not recommended, I was doing that. And also, I was up to walking 2 miles at a time within a month or so after having surgery. When I started doing Amazon Flex, again, I looked to it as an opportunity of getting in more walking, more exercise, which is good for my hip and for my legs. And I was also eager to get back to making money after having been away or not being in a position or capacity of earning money for about a month or so. If there's one other thing that I want to share with y'all, at least at this point in this particular segment of the Gig Geezer, and by the way, if you like the content that's been provided in this segment or in any other segment, hit that subscribe button, give my content a thumbs up, share my content among others, and I definitely welcome your comments in the section below. It was also around back in 2018 when I first began referring to myself as Geezer. Why? Why would I refer to myself as Geezer? Well, given that I'd been active in bowling since 2014 at that time, I'd resumed bowling from having been away for 18 years. And one of the things that I wanted to do was to bowl some PBA regional tournaments, specifically those at the senior level, the Geezer level. And so with my returning from hip replacement surgery, I felt as if I was somewhere between the third and fourth iteration of myself. And so I first referred to myself as Geezer 3.5. And then when I began interacting among other drivers with Amazon Flex, they shortened it to just Geezer. In fact, I refer to myself as Geezer. And so that's how, because of hip replacement surgery, that's how I started using the name Geezer. In fact, when I started the channel, hence you get Gig Geezer. Gig economy, because a geezer being involved in the gig economy. So what I'm going to do is at this juncture segue to the content that's associated with this catering opportunity, and then from there we will resume the conversation about the life-changing and game-changing experience with hip replacement surgery. So the restaurant is like less than 5 minutes from this actual point. And so I'm already, as I mentioned, I'm going to be venturing over there for the pickup. Now I'm doing it. I'm doing it with a text message on my mind from the app in which it's telling me how they're being sweated by EasyCater for drivers being late. And they're telling me that I was late to the pickup location on the last catering order that I completed for them on Monday, which is a lie. But these apps are, it doesn't matter which app it is, these apps are always looking to try to play fucking mind games with us drivers. And they're saying that, well, if that issue persists, it could affect your ability to remain active on the app. Well, so I sent them a rather terse response, of which they've yet to respond. But I'll just put it like this. I know from experience and my interactions with a couple of these catering apps that it is highly competitive for that business from the aggregator EasyCater. This is just like with the last mile, as you've got apps that are competing for opportunities from OneRail. They're saying that the metrics have to be good with EasyCater in order for them to get more opportunities and even some of the more lucrative opportunities or some of the more higher paying, higher volumed opportunities. And so they need the cooperation of drivers to arrive there on time and so that we have to do our part in the process. Now, the problem is when you're playing fucking mind games, and that's the problem that I have, the mind games. Because on Monday I was there on time, but it was a while before I left the place because there was a lot of items to load up, and I did not get in contact with them. So that's the type of game, that's the type of world that we exist in here in the gig economy. Bottom line, as I've often mentioned, we're nothing more than blips on all these apps' algorithm. While I'm at it, I'm right down the street from the pickup location. Now, I've not made mention of the app in this particular segment of the Gig Geezer, but I've made mention of this app and other app and I've made mention of this app and the other Gig app and other past segments of the Gig Geezer. So I invite you to go to the Gig Geezer archive in order to see which apps that I'm talking about. The other reason why I am reticent to even making mention of these apps now is because these apps look to us content creators for free attention, okay? And that free attention helps them to basically promote themselves to ezCater and to other business interests. And so whatever favorable attention they get, they use that to their advantage, or they try to use that to their advantage. As I've mentioned before, many of these gig apps have teams of people, maybe not departments, but teams of people who scour the social media realm for that type of content. And so if I'm not making mention of their name, you know, they have to, I may be implying them and I may not be implying them. So I'm here and we'll resume the conversation. So I've backed up to the restaurant. This is actually the third large order that I've picked up from these guys this year. Now, the only thing about this particular place, this location, they are not good with having things ready. The last time I came here, which was about 10 days ago, I did not leave until 45 minutes after the arrival time because it took them that long. Now, part of the problem is that the manager explained to me that there was she had to get approval from corporate to have people to come in at 7 a.m. to begin preparing all the items for that order. That order was like over $4,000, and it was split up among two drivers, myself and another driver who took things over to that particular location. But in another situation, in which I had a large order of similar size as the one that I'm doing today, same thing. They took forever. They took forever because they just don't have the manpower and perhaps arguably organization to handle orders like this, but they are not going to refuse the business opportunity. All right, so I have finally gotten everything and now going to the drop-off location. The drop-off location supposedly is 3.9 miles. That is a lie. It is more like 5 miles. But one thing that you need to know, when these apps give you mile estimates, that is based on a straight line method. And anyone who knows certain mathematical computations, the shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line. So that's why they do the straight line method. It actually cheats the driver out of mileage that they should get. But as I also called, this location would be slow with getting the order ready. I had an opportunity to talk with the store manager. The store manager's been there since February, so she's been there like 7 going on 8 months, and it's been a slow process with getting the people that she would like to have working under her. But as with most service restaurant operations, your best employees are going to be the ones who work that first shift, the first shift that covers also into the lunch rush, because they're the ones who have shown the proficiency at working under pressure and also getting orders out at a timely manner. But that's neither here nor there for us gig drivers and all. I am where I'm going is a medical facility going to the 5th floor. So that means I got to use my all-in-one dolly / cart. And so what I'm going to do is take the drinks up first along with a few items and then work it from there. I'm glad that I'm actually doing this one alone and I don't have to deal with other people who may be on a different time schedule or just a different work ethic. And that's only happened on a couple occasions, and it was with the same person. But there's always that potential of dealing with people who may not do things or have the same approach to going about their business as you do. And I have seen on other content creators some bad stories behind those type of opportunities where you have to you're teamed with another person. Again, this is my 35th opportunity on this app in which I've earned $100 or more on a single order. And the number breakdown again, I've had 3 of them in which I've earned $300 or more, 11 of them, including this one, in which I've earned $200 or more, and then the remaining 21 in which I've earned $100 or more. That comes out to 35. There is no rhyme or reason, no set formula. I don't have anyone's status or ranking. I guess they've just randomly come to me. I guess it does help when you have the vehicle to handle these type of orders, or vehicles to handle these type of orders. And then I guess with this particular app, when you have an established history, it may work in your favor as well. Now, one thing about this app, as with other apps, what happens is that everything is all based on algorithm, and so after a period of time, you get an algorithm generated message asking, well, what's going on? Why haven't you left? What's going on? Why haven't you showed up there? I had to tell them the items weren't ready. Okay, thanks for letting us know. Let us know when you've gone and give us an ETA when you're going to be there. It is what it is. So the actual facility is in sight, and so what I have to do is get off the freeway here and then kind of work my way back around into the campus parking lot areas. What I have to do is go around to the back. That is the easiest way because it also allows me to park there without blocking any incoming traffic, any incoming and outgoing traffic. In fact, that's what they prefer service people to do, be it for delivery or service people to do at this facility. So, what I will do now is segue to the dropping off of this order, and we'll wrap it up once I get back to the van. Now, I am done with this particular order. As you can tell, it was a pretty good size order. It took up a lot of space in the cargo area of this van. And then fortunately, I was able to use one of the facility's carts, which cut down the number of trips from what I had anticipated being about 3 or 4 trips to just 2. Now, ironically, my using of that cart was by happenstance because I happened to run into a lady and asked her about, hey, is it okay I use the, well, basically, she corrected me to recognize that, hey, she's a medical supplies delivery person, and that she was using one of the carts that was available in the foyer. And so I'm like, hey, 1 + 1 = 2. 1 × 1 = 1. Okay, all right, I see what she's talking about. Maybe I can use a cart as well. There was another one available. But all that is to say, come to find out, the young lady is also a viewer of the Gig Geezer channel, or she has been a viewer of the Gig Geezer channel, and she actually met me previously. Her name is Brianna, and so Brianna, thank you again for sharing that insight with me about the cart, but also thanks for this time that you spent chatting with me, letting me know what you've been doing with the gig world and how you've been trying to add on to your cache of apps that you're trying to work to earn extra money, or as in this segment of the Gig Geezer, how the apps could be used to increase your cash flow, being that you're W-2. It's always nice when viewers of the channel stop, kind of pull you off to the side, or just make mention that, hey, Geezer, I've been checking out your stuff, or hey, you got a channel. Like with Miss Brianna, she says, you got a YouTube channel, don't you? I'm like, yeah, I've seen you before, I've talked to you before, and that's kind of how it went. So the one thing I want to impress upon folk with the gig opportunities that I've had over the years, and for that matter, brokered opportunities, as it relates to my having had hip replacement surgery, I have to be very careful with how I walk and what I do, how much I lift and how I lift it. Yes, I'm able to handle a lot of things, but I still have to be very careful with what I do. One wrong move can land me in a doctor's office or on an operating table again, and that's not what you want with hip replacement. It's my understanding, at least what I had put in was the Cadillac of equipment, and so we're talking about stuff that should last like 25 years, or statistically speaking, the rest of my life. Now, I will say this though. What I will say is that there is the likelihood of my having to have another hip replacement operation, and that's for the other hip. I am aware that I've got less than 50% of cartilage in my right hip, and I do experience discomfort from time to time with the right hip. But until it gets to a point where the pain level is like on 35, I'm just going to keep going on. It's not affected how I walk and how I do things, but it is something that I'm very much mindful of. So that's all I have to share really for this segment of the Gig Geezer. Hey, if you like the content that's being provided in this segment or in any other segment, hit that subscribe button, give my content a thumbs up, share my content among others, and I definitely welcome comments in the section below. I'm Inwood Lane. As always, may your grind and may your hustle continue.